Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the 143. We're coming at you live with episode 172. Nick, how are we doing today?
We're doing good. Just wrapped up the NFL draft and feeling somewhat good about it as Cowboys fans. Took an offensive tackle in the first round.
Guard, but
Guard,
same thing.
exactly. Yeah, see, whatever. I couldn't even get that right. It was like took an offensive lineman. Don't know if he's going to be that great. I feel like we're good at drafting linemen, so this guy's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We finished with an A+. That was the draft. That was what we were graded as. So, alrighty.
If there's something we've always said here on Under Review, the only thing Jerry's good at is drafting. I thought the draft was solid, and we got an A+ on PFF. Not that draft grades really matter that much, but for people that don't know all the players like us, I guess that helps a little bit. Yeah, we wanted to take McMillan from Arizona at 12. He got taken before we got to him, so we took Booker, the guard out of Bama. But I think that's a good pick. I mean, we needed offensive line. We'll get into it in a second, I guess. But let's start us off with the stat of the week. Brought to you by Andrews Logistics. Nick, this might shock you a little bit. Average viewers for the first round of the NFL draft, 13.6 million viewers. First round of that draft was averaging 13.6 million. To put that in comparison, the highest NBA Finals game from last year, which was Game 2 between the Mavs and the Celtics, averaged 12.3 million viewers. So the first round of the NFL draft, which was not a game, wasn't a preseason, regular season, playoff, just the draft, beat the highest watched game of the NBA Finals last year.
That is interesting.
Dominance.
That just
That's
goes
dominance.
along with what we've always been saying about hating on the NBA. That it's just a waste of time.
Amen.
Bunch of bums over there. Your player of the week, Cam Ward, who went first overall. Not a lot of surprises there. It was kind of a long time coming. Just the closer we got to the draft, I feel like people kind of knew what was going on. That last season with Miami, he finished with over 4,000 yards and 39 touchdowns. So he was wheeling and dealing back there for the Hurricanes. Excited to see what he does in the NFL. We'll see how much standing around and walking around in the pocket he'll be able to do with NFL defenses hunkering down on him.
With no line on Tennessee. Yeah. Yeah, the quarterback's success is not always determined by being the first pick in the draft. A lot of times that means that you're in for it.
You're going to be taking a lot of hits, unfortunately.
And, recently, like Caleb Williams found that out the hard way last year. Joe Burrow even had an awful offensive line coming into his
And you're not
first
going to
game.
have any weapons either.
Yeah, so, it'll be – Tennessee's not back or anything. But, they got a quarterback, and that's the thing that they've been looking for. But, yeah, don't expect – I would not expect amazing things out of Cam Ward. So, just because of the team he's on. He's a great talent, though. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Cowboys first before we get into anything else. Not a very flashy draft. Didn't really take very many skill positions. We took Booker from Bama in the first round, and then I'm not even going to try to say this guy's name from Boston College in the second round. Okay, I am going to try. Iziruaku, something like that from Boston College. I just butchered his name, but he's supposed to be a dog. This guy's supposed to be really good on the edge.
Just shoring up the trenches on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
The film that I saw, he looked incredible, but obviously anybody can put together a highlight reel.
He was really good.
But that being said, he was kind of a stud, and we're hoping that he can, reciprocate that into the NFL because we drafted a defensive tackle pretty highly in Mozzie Smith recently and didn't pan out.
No, but I didn't really love that pick, Mozzie Smith, anyways.
No, I didn't either.
Back in the day.
But, get some young, fresh talent there on the defensive line, hopefully.
Yeah, to line up. We lost D-Law, line up on the other side of Micah, and hopefully those two together can wreak some havoc. Third round, we took a corner. Apparently, he's supposed to be, decent. The only problem is he'll start the season on the PUP list, the injured list. So that kind of stinks. Now, his name is Siobhan Revel Jr. out of East Carolina. The only thing that stinks there is we gave up our fourth round for Jonathan Mingo, probably one of the worst trades of all time in Cowboys history. And guess who went in the fourth round, Nick?
Let me think. There were a lot of people that went in the fourth round.
But who did we want that went in the fourth round?
There was a receiver.
It was Cam
Scatterboo. Receiver that went. Oh, yeah.
Cam Scatterboo goes to our division rival, the Giants. Unfortunately, we got to root against him now. But that's who me and Nick were really wanting out of this draft. Didn't get him because we didn't have a fourth round pick. But we ended up taking Jaden Blue from Texas in the fifth round, running back. I don't know how I feel about that pick, but all of the good running backs got taken by the fourth round. And so, Jaden Blue was good. He just kind of didn't play first starter snaps this year for Texas. So, he was decent. I don't know. Your running back for some reason has just not been a thing we're really that worried about recently. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, we just don't seem to be to be that interested in the running backs we have on the roster. I don't think he's going to be anything special. I mean, he wasn't even the starter on his own team in college, so what would make you think it'd be any different when he gets to the NFL? Can kind of move away from the Cowboys for a little bit.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter goes second overall. That's what a lot of people had him as, but the only little nugget there was that the Browns traded that pick with the Jags. So the Jags got the second overall pick and used it to draft Travis Hunter. So, I mean, you're going into a similar situation if you're Travis Hunter. Upgrading from the Browns to the Jags is not that huge of a deal. Trevor Lawrence stinks. Their defense stinks. They don't have any other. I mean, it's not that much better of a situation. But I mean, Cleveland's Cleveland. So, but that's kind of a big deal, Yeah,
let's talk about Cleveland doing the most Cleveland thing they could have possibly done in this draft, where they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster already. They draft Dylan Gabriel in the third round, and everyone's like, oh, they're taking Dylan Gabriel. Now, while this is all happening, Shedeur Sanders didn't get picked in the first 4 rounds, causing everybody to lose their minds. Talking, is it politics? Is it Dion? Did Shedeur do something wrong? Shedeur goes to Cleveland
or something or whatever.
Yeah, Shedeur goes to Cleveland in the 5th round. So now Cleveland drafted 2 rookie quarterbacks with 3 already on the roster. They've got 5 quarterbacks now. And not one out of those 5 I really, love.
Are surefire starters, because it's Joe Flacco, Deshaun Watson, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur, and then Kenny Pickett, right? That's the 5.
So just a weird room of QBs. Obviously, we love Joey Flacco here on the show, but he is old and he has seen better days. So
rather seasoned.
Cleveland fans are not super happy right now, and I think that they have every right to be mad because they all wanted Travis Hunter. I mean, he's a generational talent, plays both sides of the ball, but traded back, got Mason Graham from Michigan, a D tackle. Good luck with that one, by the way, because we drafted a D tackle out of Michigan in the first round. Mozzie Smith didn't pan out very well, so. That was kind of the craziness that everybody was. It kind of overshadowed these
not
kids
expecting that.
Yeah, but it did overshadow the rest of the guys. Everybody was talking about Shedeur. When's Shedeur going to go? Things have come out since then to where he didn't really handle his interviews very well with teams. Kind of acted like they were almost wasting his time. Like they should already want to draft him. Because he's Shedeur Sanders. He was pretty arrogant going into those interviews. Teams don't love seeing that. So that's just the reports that were coming out. I'm sure it didn't help that Deion Sanders was saying, like, we're not going where we don't want to go. You can't really do that anymore.
That he was going to say no to teams or something like that.
Yeah, first of all, he was not going to be the number one pick, and the NFL is not like it was when Eli Manning was coming out, where now, like, you know, players don't have that kind of power anymore. You know, it's a pretty harsh business in the NFL, and if you're going to act like that, they're not going to take you, because no team wants a guy that's like, you know, I'm not going to play. If I don't like you, or like, you need to draft me, you need like me. So
you need me more than I need you. Yeah,
yeah. His attitude hasn't been
felt
there.
Like, but I mean, hey, you still got drafted. You're still in the league, young buck. So time to prove everyone wrong. You know,
but it's got to be
mad
you
about
now.
this or whatever. But now it's on you. All right, you made it. You got drafted. You're on a team or whatever. So what are you going to do about it?
Let me just say though that, like, I can't blame Deion for anything. He's a dad. He wants what's best for his kid. Nobody should be taking shots at Deion Primetime Sanders right now, because he's already made a name for himself. He's being a father. He's looking out for his son. And also, he's Deion Primetime Sanders.
He's the best cornerback in the league. He can
and that's not up
do
for
whatever
debate.
he wants.
That's not up for debate, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just, you know, let the guy be a dad. Now, Shador's got to go out and make a name for himself.
Abdul Carter goes to the Giants. That's something we kind of talked about a little bit last week. Giants had a decent-ish draft. Yeah. Painfully admit it. But, yeah, that was a guy we talked about last week. And then one guy that I really liked that went right after him was Will Campbell. You know, he's got that iconic
Patriots
interview.
had a good draft.
Yeah. Offensive tackle out of LSU.
Yep.
You know, there's that deal where he's talking about if a D lineman can get 1 sack every game, that's 12 sacks in a year. He's like, you're working at Amazon or whatever. And he said, I'm ready to go out there and die for my players or something like that. You know, I'm mixing two interviews together, but those are just some of
if a D tackle
he's had together.
Yeah, if he gives up 1 sack a game, if a offensive tackle gives up 1 sack a game.
Yeah. And that's all they do. That's 12 sacks. You know, you're working at Amazon. And then later on, he said he was ready to die for his team once he got drafted by the Patriots.
Another Patriots pick in the second round, Travion Henderson. They needed a running back. They got one. He's a dog. You know, I would have been fine with him on the Cowboys too. But I think the Patriots had a really good draft. The Giants also drafted Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss. Got a quarterback. They also took our guy, Cam Skattebo, which was just so sad to see. They've got a dog in Cam Skattebo. He's going to be a great player for them. Hopefully not. Well, you know, I'm rooting for him, but not rooting for him at the same time. I just hope he has great games outside of the games they play against Cowboys.
Yeah.
But one notable thing we should mention about Abdul Carter, just a really big rookie mistake, is he requested from Lawrence Taylor, he requested the number 56.
That's right. Yep.
And Lawrence Taylor shut him down. You know, I think that was kind of disrespectful to do to probably the greatest defensive player to play the game so far. Definitely top 5, so can't really be doing that.
Yeah, that's just kind of a who do you think you are? Like, you haven't
played a snap
foot
yet
on an NFL turf field yet, and you're already asking one of the greatest defensive players of all time. Just shows the cockiness and just, I mean, he's clearly confident in his game.
Doesn't look great.
We'll see if he can back it up on the field, but yeah. Ashton Jeanty goes 6 to the Raiders. I believe that was something that we somewhat predicted last week. It just did not look like, from everything that's happened the last couple of months, that he was going to fall very far in the draft. At first, a lot of people were saying this was way early on, right after the college football playoffs had ended. They were thinking that he might fall all the way to Dallas, but
which we would have loved.
Dallas wouldn't have taken him because that would have been
not
cool. But goes to the Raiders, and the Raiders had, so draft. You know, they're the Raiders. They've been on the struggle bus as of late. So,
Yeah.
They're going to continue to stink. Ashton Genty's going to get
I
tons of
so.
carries
Yep.
on the Raiders. But
They don't really have a line. That's
we'll
kind of the issue. So, and what people were saying about why they like the Cowboys draft is because we drafted a lot of trench guys, D-line, O-line, D-line. But, so they're saying the running back won't matter as much as if we have a great line, which could be true, which we saw kind of happen with DeMarco Murray back in 2014. We just had the Great Wall of Dallas back then, and was that 14? Whenever DeMarco Murray had an amazing season, you come to find out it was a lot more because of the line than it was because of DeMarco Murray. But we didn't really have a great line last year. Now we've got 3 Tylers on the line, and our line's looking a lot better.
Yeah, that gives Dak a lot more time to sit back there and throw a pick. So at least he can do it with 5 seconds back there. Plenty of time.
3rd and 15.
You want to say.
Yeah, running back just needs to be able to catch the ball from Dak on 3rd and 20 after our 2nd down holding call, 1st down, run up the middle for 2 yards. So, when we'll have plenty of time to rip on the Cowboys this offseason, as we'll always continue to do. But like I said before, McMillan from Arizona went to the Panthers, giving Bryce Young yet another weapon to throw to on the outside. Panthers are going to be better this year, I think, than they've been in the past. But kind of the biggest team that I've been hearing and seeing that everyone thinks is just going to be worlds better because they had a great free agency and a great draft would be the New England Patriots. People are expecting them to make some noise this year with Mike Vrabel. Drake May's a good quarterback, got O-line, D-line, weapons on the out. They got what they were looking for. So we'll see.
Yeah. Tyler Warren, that was another guy we mentioned last week. Just can't really remember the last time there was a tight end that was, taken or expected to go extremely early in the draft. He went 14th overall to the Colts. Let's see.
Yeah, they needed a tight end.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Shamar Stewart out of A&M. Got to give him a shout out.
Yep. Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina. That was a running back we mentioned last week. He was the first to go.
He's good.
22nd overall to the Chargers.
Yeah, great pickup for Harbaugh. He likes to run the ball just down people's throats if he can. He's a hard-nosed kind of coach. For the first time since 2002, the Packers selected a wide receiver in the first round, Matthew Golden out of Texas. Props to them for finally doing that. They've needed it for a long time now, and they he's kind of a lot like their other receivers in terms of he's a little smaller and just really fast, but he's great talent and he's a good receiver, so props to them for taking him. And that's a lot of the skill positions that, we're taking in the first round. There were a ton of O-line and D-line, which aren't really flashy, doesn't really get people fired up, but they're necessary for the game. Just like here in Dallas, we needed a lineman. We got a lineman. It's not the flashiest pick, but that is where Jerry normally does shine, his offensive line in the first round. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Another pick worth mentioning, I think, this is just the second round, is who the Saints took in the second round at the quarterback position. Just because it was at this point where I think a lot of people thought this was where Shedeur Sanders was going to fall before he slid. Yeah, the 1,000 picks later. Tyler Schaff, I believe is how you pronounce his name, the quarterback out of Louisville.
I think.
Couldn't tell you a whole bunch about him. Didn't really remember him impressing me that much last year. You know what? If I remember correctly, I believe. Okay, yeah, he's 25. So he is the last. He was and will be the last player drafted, born before the year 2000. Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. It kind of seems like that's the pick you'd make if you want to tank for Arch Manning next year. The Saints win totals at
What are we
5.5.
doing?
They had a bad draft. They don't have really many weapons on their team. Derek Carr is probably out for the season, so looks like it's going to be Spencer Rattler and Tyler Show just battling for, last place in that division. But
I don't even remember this guy out of Louisville. I mean,
I don't either.
didn't
really watch.
impress me at all as a second round quarterback in the NFL. But hey, props to this guy. He can wear that like a badge of honor for the rest of his life. So attaboy.
Yep.
So that's
There you
might as
go.
well be a medal. But yeah, that was kind of the last one before Shedeur Sanders slid all the way to 5. And look at it. At the end of the day,
You're
it
in.
is what it is.
Just got to
Still
get in.
gets drafted. You're still in the show.
Now you just got to work to start.
That's kind of, what it comes down to at the end of the day. Yeah, your signing bonus might not be as big as the rest of them.
But you don't need it because you're
Whatever.
Sanders.
Yeah, you already you made that money in college.
Yeah,
come on
he
now,
got
baby.
them NIL deals for sure.
Yeah, but anyways, here's in our shows on Under Review. Brought you a quote from the Mike Tomlin, and he said, "Excuses are the tools of the incompetent."
That's true. Ain't nobody be making excuses. Let me just give a huge shout out tonight to the Texas Rangers for scoring 15 runs. Didn't think it was possible. Didn't think it was going to happen this season. So, that's the highest scoring total we've had this season. Not sure if we're going to see it again, Nick, but just great outing from DeGrom. The boys really showed up tonight.
Probably more runs than they've scored in the last 10 games combined or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't
Actually,
even know.
that might be
it
true.
Might be 8 or something like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
also tune in on Thursday night. The Stars are going to Denver to hopefully close out the series, Game 6 in the Mile High City. Put those bums to bed.
Yep.
Well, we'll see. Game 7 on Saturday if necessary, but it won't be. So
Let's hope
stay
not.
tuned on Thursday.
Tune in on Thursday night. Let's watch the lads take down the boys up in Denver. So thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week. Always keeping you updated here at Under Review.